Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. I have noticed that there is an Odin bundle on sale. Now I don't need that personally because I already have an Odin, but given the, well, how am I going to put this, not so great premiums that I've seen recently, I figured it'd be time to put in some positive vibes and show you this little thing. Because this thing is an absolute monster of a premium, at least if you are into a certain playstyle. So, what is the Odin? The Odin is a battle cruiser, technically, you could say. And she's got a couple of tricks up her sleeves that make her really special. The Odin doesn't have an awful lot of hit points. She does have, however, a pretty good armor. That still means she is still a battle cruiser, and it's not one of those ships, one of those German ships that you need just to bash your head through, just sail in a straight line and just tank it all. That's not what the Odin is about. If you look for something like that, like in a Bismarck or in a Tirpitz or in higher tiers, yes, the main battleship line on the German trek tree is very much capable of these sort of things. If these battleships are battle axes, the Odin is a rapier. The Odin dances rather than smashes heads in, still in a very deadly way. If the Bismarck is a barbarian, the Odin is a rogue. So, what is making the Odin so special? The maneuverability is reasonably good. The guns are a little bit on the small side, on the main guns. These are only 305 millimeters, but they reload pretty quick with 18 seconds. You've got 9 of them, and they can hit pretty hard. But it's all about the secondaries, because the Odin gets the usual 150 millimeter secondaries. They are 2 turrets, they're centerline mounted, so you can get them firing at each side. So you got 6 of these firing each way. And she gets tier 10 auto secondaries in tier 8. On top of that, she gets 2 quad torpedo launchers, which are not your standard 5.4 kilometer German torpedoes, but actually have a range of 6.9 kilometers and have excellent torpedo angles. The AA is nothing really to write home about, and neither is the concealment. But what makes this ship so special is just the overall package. The Odin is a very small ship. If you compare it with something like a Bismarck, it's a relatively small target. The Odin is quite maneuverable for a battleship. And the Odin is an overall very deadly package. Now, again, like I said, it's not a ship that you run your head through the wall with, but it's a ship that if you find the appropriate situation is incredibly deadly. Now, this is my personal Odin. I have the historical camouflage on this ship, which gives us additional hit points, range, and dispersion, which is nice. I think there is an alternate camo, maybe, but can't really quite see it in this list. Maybe there was an event camo or something. I'm sure there's an anime camo for it or something. But that's mine with the historical camo. I am obviously using the German-specific secondary battery mod 2 for increased range and dispersion on the secondaries. And I do have von Hipper, who is fully upgraded and has the most important skills here being the Sixth Sense, which gives you an idea of when you're being shot at. The Close Quarters Combat Expert Plus, which gives a whopping 20% on dispersion on the secondaries. And the APCS Plus, which does help out the mains with better penetration. So, all said and done, the Odin is a really, really fun ship. And I'll show you 2 games, and both are, I think, 4v4s. Now, there's something a little bit special about games that don't have a full complement of players, because if that is the case, then usually the first part of the game tends to be a little bit on the slow side. Whereas if you have a couple of bots on the game, that generally gives the enemy something to shoot at. And that's where the Odin can dance. In the first round, there's an awful lot of premium ships out here. In fact, there is no non-premium ship. So this is a full-on premium versus premium battle. But we are facing an Atlantico, which has recently been, I'm not going to say nerfed, but brought back to reality. There's an Anhalt, which I wasn't massively convinced by. And there's a Black Amalfi, and I have no idea what that thing's capable of, but the Asashio I do remember. That thing has extremely long-range torpedoes. But we're playing Epicenter. And the thing about the Epicenter map is that you actually need to capture the capture circles. Now, again, Asashio is a very, very stealthy ship, but you don't have to be afraid of destroyers too much in this thing, because the Odin has sonar, the Odin has extremely good secondaries, and the Odin has torpedoes. And the Odin is a relatively small maneuverable target that really plays more like a large cruiser than a battleship. And I usually don't like large cruisers. This is really an exception because of the maneuverability, because of the absolute insane firepower, and just the all and outright fun that you have in this ship. So we are heading together with the Haida over there towards the center cap. First stage in a battle is in the Odin is generally not rushing head in first, but scoping out for looking for an opportunity. Like I said, it's not a battle axe. You don't just run up to your enemy screaming and hit him over the head. You scope out the battle space. You figure where your entrance is, where your vector is, where you can go, and just dance around the enemies and confuse the heck out of them. All right, we've got a bot Takao over there, and we are going to go along the flank. The secondaries have range to cover the center, so let's begin by removing that Takao. And the Odin is also, by the way, relatively precise, as you can see. The guns are fun. And there's Asashio. Hello, Mr. Asashio. Let's put the sonar up just in case he's already launched, because Asashio has an insane range. And Black Amalfi is shooting at the Takao, so I think that Takao is dead. Oh no, Black Amalfi is shooting at the Asashio. Well done. I mean, how did he get himself spotted? I have no idea. But we've taken out the Takao. The Asashio had to dodge my torpedoes. My sonar is still running, and which means that him smoking up is really not going to help him. Yeah, that is an extremely dead Asashio. Obviously, there are going to be Asashio torpedoes in the water. Yep, didn't need sonar to know that these were coming, but again, you are in an Odin. And this is what the Odin can do when there are torpedoes coming, especially if you know that they're coming. Yep. And that's 25,000 points of damage done with not a scratch in the paintwork. Alright, next problem. Atlantico. Atlantico generally would park itself in the center and just kill everything using auto secondaries. And obviously the manual secondaries. So, but she's got her deck armor brought back to reality, and you can actually damage this thing now. Although there is an Amalfi giving me full broadside. Are you going to stop or are you going to go forward? Now he's going forward. Okay. Shots out at that thing, but the friendly Amalfi needs assistance, and that's where I'm seeing my gap. This is where I'm starting to draw fire from the Atlantico, and I am confident in taking on an Atlantico that is sitting there fully broadside, and we do have an Anhalt over there on the other side, but the rest of my team is sort of bimbling about in the countryside, except the Haida, which seems to be going in the middle. So this is where you go. And obviously, yes, it's a Black Amalfi. There are going to be torpedoes in the way. But you're in an Odin. And in an Odin, you can do this. Also, the Odin has 2/3 of her firepower forward. So you can very much rush enemy ships in this thing. Up there comes the second spread from the Black Amalfi. So Black Amalfi is now on reload, which means we are going to start working over that Atlantico. And making a quick and violent end to that thing before the Amalfi can actually do something. Okay, Atlantico is gonna die to my torpedoes because he's left it way too long, so I can already start shooting back at the Amalfi, which is now giving me a nice flat broadside to fire at. First heal up. There is also an Anhalt, and yes, these might only be 305mm guns, but oh boy, can they hurt. So. Atlantico should be dying in a second there. Yep, there she is. Atlantico is dead. And Amalfi sits in a smoke screen doing potentially a torpedo launch. Yep, there you are. Hello. This is a fuel smoke, my friend. Yep, Anhalt, I see you over there. I'll deal with you momentarily. And the auto-secondaries can deal with the Amalfi. Let's start shooting at the Anhalt. Now, the Anhalt does have torpedoes, but I think the Anhalt's got the turrets turned around the wrong way. Oh, you want to point the turret towards the enemy, not away from it. I'm not complaining here. And your scout plane isn't going to help you. Okay, these are the Anhalt torpedoes. Taking one, and then we might take 1 or 2 from the Amalfi's torpedoes. That's why he was sitting in his smoke screen, thinking that he's a destroyer. And yeah, the Anhalt is going to die as well. In a very, very brief and violent way. I love this ship so much. And then this is it, right? Battle's over already. We've got 2 minutes to go. But generally, if you can spot a gap in the enemy defenses and just get in there with the Odin and stab them in the heart, then this is what the outcome is. Now, admittedly, the enemy team to a degree has to let you do that. But this just goes to show that if you are in a completely premium battle, you're still, and you know what you're doing, you're very much coming out on top of that. Which brings us to the second round, which again is a 4v4, but this time it's a tier 9 battle, although the only tier 9 on the enemy team is an Iowa, which I am not afraid of. So it's once again Iowa, Atlantico, North Carolina, and Anhalt. And it is going to be on Sea of Fortune, like I said, domination. Still, same rules apply. So this is not a ship in which you rush in. Play it more as a cruiser than as a battleship. But she really, really hits the sweet spot of armor, maneuverability, speed, firepower, and just all-out good ship. Anyway. I think that Fletcher over there is alone with a Wichita, so I'm gonna actually head over into A Cup because that means I can work with Fletcher. One thing that people have asked me a little bit in the past is how do you make things work? Well, I generally pick somebody that I want to support at the beginning of the battle, and I've just picked the Fletcher. So I want to support the Fletcher because Fletcher has lots of torpedoes, and if I can keep Fletcher alive. And Fletcher can be useful, then that is a good thing. So anything cruiser like that Baltimore, and don't underestimate American heavy cruisers in bots. These things can be vicious. There goes the Odin's dispersion. Look at that dispersion. That is a beautiful dispersion. So Bowen doesn't help you. But yeah, Fletcher obviously now is spotted by that thing. Why are they so dangerous? Because they negate smoke screens on destroyers, and they are very, very rapid firing. And there's also an Anhalt coming in. So let's get the Baltimore out of the way. That thing is dangerous. Has taken a couple of torpedoes from the Fletcher, but I'm assuming that that the smoke screen is not helping him, and Fletcher is on the run. But we'll deal with the Baltimore. Okay, Baltimore's dead. Next up, Anhalt. There's the two North Carolinas over there. Hello, Mr. Anhalt. I am very much not afraid of you. Come on. And there is a bot. I'm being targeted by two ships and make that one. So given that fire is coming in, yeah, the Anhalt has stopped targeting me and is now shooting at the bot, which is perfect. I like it. No destroyers on the enemy team, so I can use my secondary overload and just absolutely shred the Anhalt to pieces, while also again dropping some torpedoes on him and yeah. just doing Odin things. The tier 10 auto secondaries are helping as well. So yeah, that should be a very dead Anhalt, and Fletcher gets him. That's what I mean with supporting your teammates. All right, North Carolina. Hello, you just run out of friends on this flank, and I'm coming after you next, unless I have something better to shoot at. And he gives me a nice flat broadside, precise aim up, shots out. Again, these are 3 or 5s. They're not going to do an awful lot at range, but it still adds up. Oh, never mind, Atlantico spotted. And he is in my range, so we'll start working that thing over while giving chase to the, because he's dangerous, while giving chase to the North Carolina over there. He's dangerous because, yeah, as you can see on the Anhalt, who's already about to go down. He's dangerous because of the secondaries and because bots don't Damacon. So he's going to just absolute wreck any kind of bot, and I don't think that Anhalt is going to live very long. Yep, there's something already in triple permafire. So that thing sitting in a capture circle and just unleashing fire at everything is quite dangerous. So I'm giving my assistance here, and we'll do what we can to give the Anhalt a fighting chance. But hello, Mr. North Carolina. Okay, North Carolina takes out the Wichita, and the Atlantico has taken down the Anhalt, which gets us even on kills, but we're still ahead on points. So let's get rid of that North Carolina then, shall we? Hello! Okay, I can still give a couple shots at the Atlantico, but he's now being rushed by the Fletcher. And remember that Fletcher. He's useful. I think he should be alright. So Atlantico is on very low hit points, so with probably one torpedo salvo he can take him out, which means I can now start working off that North Carolina. And North Carolina has made a cardinal error of judgment, which is that he thinks that he can brawl an Odin. Newsflash, you can't. I mean, you can try. Okay, he's in the turn, so lead the torpedoes. And don't get me wrong, North Carolina is a dangerous ship, but he just outturned his own turrets. And he's got torpedoes incoming. My secondaries are working him over. He's on fire. And that is a very, very dead North Carolina. Should have led a little bit more with the torpedoes. Double fire from the NC, don't worry about it. It's only the rear turret and I think one of the front turrets that's coming on at this point, but he's very good. So that thing's gone, and that just leaves one enemy battleship left. We've lost something else, but the Fletcher is still alive. Remember, that Fletcher is useful. Okay, I'm a little out of ways here. So while I'm heading back into, and yeah, the battle is won. So while I'm heading back into BCAP. Yeah, just another word about the ship. You can't just rush in headlong. You get yourself killed under concentrated fire pretty quickly. But you wait out the opening stages of the map until the situation is kind of clarified, and you know where everyone is, and you know what you're facing. And then you pick yourself situations where you feel, you can do something good. Now, this is similar to what you would do in the actual battleships. You also can't just run in headlong. The difference with the Odin being that the Odin is a little bit lower on hit points than other German battleships. And the armor is not the greatest, but it's good enough to allow you to, do these sort of things. And the firepower is just outstanding at this thing. So, Mr. Iowa, I see you are running away from a Fletcher. Yeah. Let me welcome you once you come around that island there. Yep, Fletcher just took a nasty hit from the Iowa over there. So Iowa knows what he's doing. He knows he's being chased by a Fletcher. And he has taken, I think, one Fletcher torpedo, but that could have been worse. So let's get ourselves into secondary range, shall we? And the thing is, with the Odin, secondary range is halfway across the map, so... Hello! And again, it's my favorite kind of target, someone who's otherwise occupied. I'm not even going to bother with the torpedoes, because the island's in the way, so... we'll just manual aim at the deck armor for the Iowa, and really we don't need the torpedoes. He just melts away, and again he's not even looking at me. He's looking at Fletcher. So sorry, Fletcher, you had your chance, and I'm taking that one. And there we go. That, my friends, is the Odin. If you want a really, really good Tier 8 battle cruiser, and and you're in the market for a premium, instead of getting yourself an Anhalt, that thing is very much worth it, in my opinion. So that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.